please tell me what comes to mind when you think about Ebola? You first.
Well, there's the whole, people think it's like a conspiracy theory, and then there's also like when Shepard Smith came on and did the whole rant about like, if you give this news time, then it's nonsense. But I mean, people are dying from it. It's a disease, and it's...
You can't be ignorant.
Right.
You can't be ignorant. You have to learn about it. You have to be, you know, an intellectual. You have to get on, you know, get whatever information you can get, and be calm and safe and do what you have to do to prevent yourself or anybody else from getting sick.
I know everyone's freaking out about it. I know it's a sickness, a virus that they say is coming from Africa, and it's kind of scary.
Now, if you know that Ebola is coming from a certain place, why do you still bring people from that place?
Trying to figure out, you know, the difference between the unbiased ones, like who's really trying to, like, you know, freak us out more, or just like, but also trying to get like straight facts about it.
It's giving the whole Africa a bad image, but it's not the whole Africa that have Ebola. It's just a certain part of Africa, literally like maybe 3 countries of West Africa that have Ebola, but it's just messed up. People dying quick.
Scare tactics. It's a control tactic by the government to keep people under control, keep them scared. Just in case something happened, people will panic and they make the wrong decisions. So when they really do need their resources, they won't have it.
There's only been a couple cases here and it seems pretty contained. So what, like, I guess with people just like, you know, being like, oh my God, you know, creating like more scare tactics and stuff.
And it's not, I don't think it's an epidemic here. Because there's... Yeah, here, I really...
It's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic, obviously, in the countries that are dealing with it. But, you know, like, we have really good, you know, sewage systems and water and, you know, stuff of that nature.
Stop allowing our media to tell us one thing when it's really something different. I personally don't believe that. I believe that Ebola was created in this country.
Oh, really?
I believe so, just like AIDS. I believe AIDS was too.
Especially, and that doctor who came back who knew he'd been exposed and then just like floated around for a few days.
You're a doctor.
That's not cool.
Be smart.
But
exactly.
Just be smarter.
Okay.
Don't get me started, but I can go a little deep because I believe that it was brought off to control and do away, exterminate masses of people. Because the powers that be, well, Islam, the powers that be, right? We have to be mindful that there are entities or fraternities that wish to do away with the so-called parasites. But now who's the parasites?
If you were to find out that your neighbor had Ebola, what would you do?
I would try and be as calm as possible about it.
I just live my regular life. What I'm gonna do, he ain't gonna come run to my house. He gonna go get help. I ain't no doctor. I can't help him. You know what I mean? But it ain't. That's the thing. If you're not educated about the disease, then how you gonna prevent it, right?
Probably feel kind of scared and probably stay away from them, but
Stay away from them?
yeah, I mean, I don't want to be quarantined, trapped up in my house and stuff, you know, so I think it's something serious unless they just want us to be like, you know, distracted or something. When I say they, I mean the government.
Contact the CDC.
immediately.
And you know, do what you have to do to stay safe and protect yourself
And your family.
and your family. And if we all do that and we all stay vigilant, we'll be fine.
I'd probably call them and be like, go to the hospital or don't move.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna be like, oh, hey, like down the hall, but, you know, good luck with the Ebola.
Tell the person to go get checked up, get himself or herself admitted at the hospital, and find out what they can do for him.
Government will tell you one thing, that it ain't airborne, but it might be. They say you gotta touch somebody, they gotta rub the moisture on you. You don't know that, you ain't do the research for yourself, so you don't know. So all you're gonna do is carry on with your regular life, right? Until it becomes, the quicker it spread, the more people gonna panic.
It was once said by a fella, I don't want to say his name, but he said, I remember once upon a time it was easier to control millions of people. He said, but now it'll be easier to kill millions of people. Why? Because they are becoming spiritually awakening. They're becoming educated. They're not getting incarcerated. And they stop being intoxicated. Now they come out with AIDS' big brother. His name happens to be Ebola.
How Hello viewers and welcome to the show. I'm your host Fatima. By now, you've probably heard about a couple of incidents involving Africans in the diaspora getting bullied and mistreated in the name of Ebola, a deadly disease currently affecting West African countries Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. One case in particular receiving a lot of media attention involves two American-born Senegalese children who recently returned to the U.S. On October 24th, Amadou, 11, and Pape Drame, 13, were attacked at IS 318 in Tremont in the Bronx, New York, where they were punched in the face and relentlessly bullied by classmates. The children shouted and chanted at the brothers, "Go back home to Africa," and Ebola during the beatings. Another incident involves Stephen Opeyemi, a Nigerian father in Milford, Connecticut, who sued an elementary school in late October, saying his 7-year-old daughter was discriminated against and banned from school for 21 days based on irrational fears of Ebola after attending a wedding in Nigeria. Though Opeyemi's daughter has not experienced any symptoms associated with Ebola and is healthy, parents and teachers were concerned she could transmit Ebola to other children. Those are just a couple of examples of how the current Ebola outbreak is not only affecting Africans back home, but also those living here in the diaspora. Today on the show, Ousmane Drame, the father of the two Senegalese boys who were bullied, joined me to give us an update on the well-being of his children and shed some light on the issue. Hi viewers, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sitting here with the father of the two Senegalese kids who were abused in a New York public school. So thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Yeah, thanks. So my name is Ousmane Drame, the father of the children.
Exactly. So please tell me, how are the children doing right now?
Yeah, they're doing fine. They're doing fine. We are Africans. We know how to carry sometimes those troubles.
So when this first happened in the school, what came to mind?
Yeah, things happened almost 1 week. They're suffering for 1 week. These things happen, but the school, they are almost one week on something. The teacher know that, the schools know that, everyone who in the school, even the children know that. They was bullying them almost all weeks. Until Friday they beat them. Yeah.
Wow. So when they finally beat them, what came to mind at the time?
Yeah, that's the way the teacher called me, tell me, come on, your children was having a problem here, Mm-hmm. The kids beating them, Mm-hmm. I rushed to get to the school. I found the little boy laying on the floor crying.
Wow.
This big brother was 13 years old, the big brother, 13 years old,
Mm-hmm.
tried to fight back, was yelling, crying too, But they just knew they don't speak Spanish, they don't speak English, That was the problem. But everybody was yelling to school. Everybody to school, That's what made them crazy.
How did they tell you that made them feel?
Yeah, they, in the beginning, the big one,
Mm-hmm.
the 13 years old one,
Mm-hmm.
was ready to go back to fight. But he don't accept his brother was beating like it is. He don't accept it. But the little one,
Mm-hmm.
Mokhtar, tell me, Daddy, these people, I want to stay, but this kids today so bad, I want to go home.
Really?
Yeah, they want to go home. You want to go
They
home.
want to go to Senegal?
Yeah, they want to go back home. I tell them, no, you don't have to go stay here. You man,
I understand exactly how they felt. Because when I just came here as well, kids tease you at school when you just come here, like Africa Booty Scratcher, and names that they call you, so I can imagine how they feel.
The biggest mess is the education system. It's not work. They go to Guinea. They take all the bauxite to ship it here over 23 years, but they never inform the children. They went to Liberia. They take all the diamonds, they bring it to this country. The Liberian, they don't teach that the children to let them know those diamonds come from Liberia. That's why they don't respect us. With the Sierra Leone, they don't respect us, If you go to this time in Liberia, 5 stone is there working. Billions of dollars in Thai, in the rubber. But one single engineer never catch the Ebola. Something wrong. Something wrong. They have to tell us what's going on.
What do you think needs to happen within the school system?
What the school system, America is America all the time. Okay, these things happen over hundreds of years. We cannot come from Africa now and change right away the system. But what we should do is, as African people, it's time for us to join together, to work in a project, to re-educate the Department of Education. about the way of we want our children to be educated. I think from there, we have a position to find the way to do the right thing. But if we let only the Department of Education teach the way they teach, our children will have the same problem. I was prefer, to teach these children the real story of Africa. Don't show them the monkey, don't show them the tree, don't show them someone who's hungry. No, I want them to show how they take the bauxite in Guinea, and what they ended with the bauxite. I want them to show how they get the fish in Atlantic Ocean. Those fish they eat in America come from the Atlantic Ocean. They have to show how they catch those fish and bring them here. We African people, we even not catch one good fish. All the fish was industrially picked up by these people. They have to show that. That's why we don't have any respect,
So, in there, during the meeting, you also mentioned the responsibility of the parents, because you said you decided not to press charges on the kids. Please tell me about that.
Some of them are, the police want to go pick the children.
Okay.
I tell them, I don't want us children. I don't want children. For my philosophy, I know what the law say to them. But my philosophy is, I don't like children miss one day of class.
Okay.
My philosophy, What the law tell them to do, they know. But my philosophy, I don't want children miss one day of class. I have a problem with the schools, but not the children.
Okay.
If at home, if the mom call the supermarket, tell them, please, don't send African people to deliver my food.
Wow.
Why they have Ebola.
Wow.
And the child is there behind, listening to the story. If you go to school, what do you want to say to the African children? You guys have Ebola? Sometimes it's the parents, not the children. The children is a victim. That's why, I don't want to give them so trouble. I don't want it at all.
So lastly, I know a lot of our viewers are concerned. How is the physical appearance of the children? Are they hurt right now? Are they?
No, they was hurt, the little one, but African children play soccer, it's hurt all the time,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just talked to them, they come back. They was crying for their mom to go back home, but this thing stopped now. They're going to school.
Okay. This is the final. So what message do you have for kids out there or parents out there who are going through the same thing that your family just went through?
I don't have a message to send to the kids, but the parents.
Okay.
The parents don't want to go to the African air breeding to breed their air. They believe we have Ebola. The parents, if you go to the supermarket, anything you touch, nobody touch it back. They don't want it, they run away from you. What do you want the kids to do? If the mom is scared, if the mom play all this funny stuff, what the kids to do?
The kids will follow.
The kids, they don't even know what Ebola means. The children, they don't know what's Ebola. They just Ebola. They don't know what that means. We need to unite to create Africa like one flag, one power, one people.
There you have it. Welcome back. In case you missed it, that was the father of the Senegalese kids who were beat up by their classmates last month. Hope you learned a thing or two from him. After hearing what happened, my biggest concern was the welfare of the boys, and he just confirmed that they are perfectly okay. So thank God for that. Now moving on, but still on the Ebola topic. On October 31st, I attended a meeting at City Hall in New York, where Letitia James, the current public advocate, met with African community leaders to give a briefing on the Ebola crisis and what is being put in place to ensure that the African community is better informed and served. Here's what she had to say. Thank you for joining us today on SaharaTV. I'm sitting here with Miss Letitia James, public advocate. So please tell me, as an advocate, what are you currently doing in terms of helping the African community combat Ebola?
So we had a meeting this morning or this afternoon with leaders from the African community, and apparently they had not had any conversations with the government. And it's really critically important that if we are going to solve this problem and address this dreaded disease, it's really critically important that the African community be at the table. Two, I was very disturbed about all of the accounts of discrimination that I heard against children and others, individuals they were told to leave the premises of their employment, children who were bullied and attacked, and that cannot be tolerated, not in any civil society. Three, I was also told that the material that's being distributed, unfortunately, is not culturally sensitive. It's not being translated in the appropriate language, and that there is illiteracy in the community, and so we really need more illustrations as opposed to words. And so these were helpful points of information and helpful recommendations. And so we're going to call for a meeting with the administration, and we would like for the Department of Health to be present, Department of Education to be present, as well as Human Rights to be present at these meetings, so that we could, again, assist this administration in this country and this nation at addressing this dreaded disease. And last but not least, the African community indicated to me that the 3 countries that are affected obviously need supplies. They need doctors, and so we're going to compile a list of supplies and needed services that they need, so that individuals who are interested in helping address this disease could join with us.
Okay, so this is not the first time that, African kids have been bullied or harassed because of, their heritage.
Right.
So what do you think needs to be done, especially in New York City?
So the Department of Education obviously will be invited to the meeting, and I think we should work with the African community to come up with some solutions on how to address this in our schools.
Well, that's the show for today. If you would like to place an ad on our station, please send us an email to adverts@SaharaReporters.com, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at InsideTheDiaspora. Or you can also shoot me an email at InsideTheDiaspora@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and see you next time as I uncover more stories from the diaspora. Bye.